friends, welcome to another episode of Seeing Sentai. I'm MarzGurl. Today we're looking at Taiyou Sentai Sun Vulcan episodes 22 through 28. Well, what were the monsters for these last 7 episodes? Well, we've got Horseshoe Crab Monger, Giant Octopus Monger, Water Bug Monger, Sea Snake Monger, Hungry Monger, Alien Monger, and Crystal Monger. We have just passed the halfway point with Sun Vulcan, and I'm really excited because I'm not going to talk so much about the monsters. The monsters, I think, are kind of important to kind of let you know what sort of enemies we were seeing across these different episodes. But I'm not going to focus on every single episode. What I want to talk to you guys about are some really important changes that were made during this time period of Sun Vulcan, because some really big ones came up. So you might remember the Zero Girls. They're the 4 members of Black Magma, the 4 female members of Black Magma, who really sort of did the majority of the groundwork. They weren't any of the robots, and they weren't any of the major monsters, but they're the ones that kind of executed all the ideas. Well, in episode 22, there was an idea launched to turn as many people into human fossils as humanly possible. And when Sun Vulcan was kind of putting a clamp on those plans, 01 is just kind of like, that's it, I've got to kill all of them. And when she delivers this line, you're kind of just left thinking, oh no, you're gonna die. And sure enough, it kind of came out of left field. Suddenly in this episode, she ends up in the destruction of a cave where they were getting some work done, and rocks fall, explosions happen, and she dies in the glory of Black Magma, leaving only 3 members of the Zero Girls remaining. And those 3 members of the Zero Girls really have no leadership skills and no personality. Thus, we have to get to episode 23. And in episode 23, some more really big, important stuff happens. So, Queen Hedrion, you'll remember, I've mentioned this a few times, she came over from the previous Sentai series of Denjimon, and she was the lead villain in that series. And this episode further connects Denjimon to Sun Vulcan. She summons Amazon Killer from outer space. Now, Amazon Killer has not appeared before. However, she does mention that Amazon Killer was very loyal to the Vader clan, and the Vader clan was, of course, that prominent evil organization in Denjimon, and I just think that that's fantastic that they are beginning to bridge these gaps between the Sentai series and make them one big overarching universe. I think that is so cool. So essentially, Amazon Killer kind of becomes the leader of the Zero Girls. They don't ever actually say that, but she seems to lead the other 3 remaining Zero Girls in a lot of footwork from this point forward. Furthermore, at the end of this episode, after all of the beating up of the bad guys is taken care of, which, by the way, also involves the destruction of the Sun Vulcan base, and then suddenly we found out there was a brand new Sun Vulcan base that we didn't know existed, but it was totally there the whole time, and the members of Sun Vulcan are like, oh, that's really cool. Well, in comes flying this new guy, Takayuki Hiba, and Takayuki Hiba is also a member of the Air Force, just like Vol Eagle, and they are dressed exactly the same in the same uniform, and they have the exact same really big haircut. They just look absolutely identical. So at the end of episode 23, right, Vol Eagle and Vol Shark and Vol Panther and Hiba come walking in like, hey, let's take a look around the brand new base. Isn't this gonna be awesome? And as soon as Vol Eagle walks in the door to talk to the commander's like, sorry, Vol Eagle, we can't have you anymore because NASA wants you to help them colonize space. Just suddenly, out of left field, and then everybody gets sad for a second, like, well, what are we gonna do without him? We're not gonna have Sun Vulcan anymore. And they're like, nah, don't worry, we got another guy right here. And they immediately replace him with Hiba, no questions asked, like he doesn't have another job to do, like that's all the conversation was. And suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, we have a brand new, permanent replacement of the leading red role of Vol-Eagle. And to the best of my knowledge, this is the only time that this replacement happens in the history of Sentai permanently. It will happen later on, but it never happens permanently. Not as of yet. So far, only in Sun Vulcan. And once you get to episode 24, then you really see how this brand new Vol-Eagle behaves. He's kind of a no-nonsense guy, and when everybody else is laughing things off, he wants to get out there and get in the field and get to work. This is very much true in this episode 24, where he hears that there's a monster out on a lake, and he goes out there all by himself, and he doesn't even wait for the rest of the team to show up. So he gets himself into some kind of sticky situations, like he gets himself strapped to a boat, and black magma sends him out into the middle of the lake while the boat is set to explode. And what's funny is that you can totally see the tiny hand of the on-set dude working at Toei who's actually steering the boat, so there's like this third hand sticking out of the boat. These older series, they really didn't care about those little slip-ups, and I think those are really fascinating. But it does show that Vol-Eagle also apparently is kind of a badass, because they introduced a new intro, of course, with him in it, and now he practices kendo, and he has a sword, and he has all of these amazing swordsmanship abilities, and he's apparently really freaking awesome. And what's kind of sad is that it makes him look so good, and it makes Vol Shark and Vol Panther look so derpy by comparison. I really hope that the two of them get some kind of upgrade in the near future, because otherwise they don't look like they're pulling their weight by comparison. And then I guess another thing I wanted to talk about was another really stupid character gets introduced. I guess his name is Suki Hachi. He's hired by the commander to work at the restaurant. This happens the same episode where we introduce Amazon Killer and where we introduce the brand new Vol-Eagle. So this new guy is working at the restaurant base under the commander, and he's just got this really bizarre, goofy personality, and like he blows raspberries on the windows, and he lifts up his shirt to show everybody his nipples, and he's really kind of an uncomfortable person to listen to, and way too goofy, and I'm sure he and the talking dog Cece are gonna get along just fine over time, but I don't necessarily know if this is what Sun Vulcan really needed. Was this really irritating guy who very desperately wants to get into Sun Vulcan, so much so that in episode 28 he gets manipulated by black magma to try and get him to tell them where Sun Vulcan's secret base is. This was another weird thing too, but Suki Hachi, he swears he knows that the people who keep coming into the restaurant are in fact the members of Sun Vulcan. And I'm sort of sitting here like, well, I don't think it was a secret, because they don't do a very good job of keeping it a secret, because they just transform in front of anybody. And in fact, Black Magma knows exactly who the members of Sun Vulcan are. So, what I don't understand is why in this episode 28, why is it that Sun Vulcan tries so desperately to keep Suki Hachi from knowing that they in fact are Sun Vulcan, and they try and lie to him and say, "We're not Sun Vulcan, what are you talking about? We don't have a secret base here. Is this a secret? I don't feel like this is a secret. If it's a secret, this is the worst kept secret ever." Those are largely the biggest things to have happened in Sun Vulcan over the last 7 episodes. I'm really enjoying, really plowing through this series, and I think we're gonna get through it really fast and get on to the next series very, very quickly. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too, and I hope you've been having fun. And thank you as always to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarzGurl who make this and all kinds of other stuff that I do possible. So if you would like to get your own rewards, your name in the credits, or a request review directly from me, go check out patreon.com/MarzGurl, and I'd definitely like to get some work done for you. That's gonna be it for now, guys. I hope to be seeing you guys very, very soon.